West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, a very bright morning in Arua City. I must say the one is started in a chilly way, but really we are now seeing it a bit changing. But that also shouldn't tell me that you still must keep on that bed, because the cock crowed a long period of time. The KOKOLIRIKO also bell went on, and that is why we are saying each and every morning when the cock crows, it means that also really now that is also time for you to also get to move away from that bed and also go to start hustling for your daily needs, and that is quite important for you to also really do that. And that is the reason as to why we are saying each and every morning people must ensure that they also really, first of all, work very hard to also really attain whatever thing that they're supposed to be doing. And that is the reason as to why we're really here to keep you updated of what is happening right in Western Sub-region. And my name is Majid. It's a great pleasure having you on board this morning, and today is the 24th of the month of May, and it's a great pleasure having you on board this morning as well. And I want to say maybe from wherever you're watching us from, it could be within Western Sub-region, it could be within Acholi, it could still be within Lango Sub-region and the entire northern Uganda at large. We say it's great having you on board, and that's the reason as to why you must always watch us. And that is also really a reason as to why maybe if at all you at home watching with your family members, this is definitely the most amazing show that you should also may not miss out. And that's really where you are going to be getting access to information in the corridors of current affairs, because we are here exclusively to do that for you. And we also do not leave ourselves not only that, we also keep you aware of what is happening within the various areas. And that's the reason as to why you must always watch West Nile television. Because surely we are here to do that work for you, that is to keep you informed and updated of what is happening right in the world of current affairs. And this is where we also going to be talking about information happening in politics, and we are not going to be leaving you outside that. But now to begin off the discussions from what is happening right here in Arua City, and yesterday we did see also really Arua City being painted yellow, and I really want to say that event is not for politics, but definitely we have been told that also the head of state, His Excellency Dr. Museveni, will be also jetting into the city on the 8th of next month. And that is why the event of yesterday that happened, that is also the procession that is organized by the deputy, that's the deputy resident city commissioner, that's Ham Zamil in there. But I must say it's quite amazing to also see different stakeholders being brought together. And this is also really where one message that was passed out is the fact that also the people of West Nile have been also really urged not to fight each other, rather also to just promote and also support each other. That would also be quite good. And this message was passed on by the then deputy resident city commissioner for Arua City, that is Adomati Dixon, who only served, that is for 9 months in Arua City. And really after that we saw his name also being dropped in there, but really the circumstances which also led to that we are unclear. But really he said, as West Nile, as for us to grow, politics of fighting each other should be put aside, because you are my brother from West Nile Sub-region. And really if I move away from here and go away, and recently we did see an engagement in Arua City also really, where we did see what the Sam Nyako also really expressing dismay through some of the leaders who often meet also really and discuss bad things about each other. That is at the top level, which to him is actually very bad. And now we are seeing the West Nilers also being cautioned against politics of divisionism and hatred, because if at all you are going to be rallying people so really to do bad things against your brother, then this is quite unfortunate, because as people of West Nile Sub-region, we are the same people. We shouldn't also really continue fighting each other, but rather we need to also support each other. That is why we are seeing also really the divisionism so very much playing that's a role in the development of the region. And that is why we are saying that must be put aside. And this message also really was passed also really by the leaders, where I must say this was quite amazing to see different stakeholders can be brought together and discuss several issues related to development, because we are talking about development. And really once the head of state comes here, instead of also really going that is to him to pin each other, that is really quite amazing. And if you can really see the event, how it went on, and people were dancing, and really this is also really to also paint us an image of how exactly the people are prepared. And I really want to say that is quite amazing to see. And also we did see so many people being joined also in this event, where we also really joined also by the Congolese community living in Arua City also really to attend this colorful event. And that is why they ask also really for time, that also they need to be involved also in these activities. They are not also people left out. Some of them have lived in this city for quite a long period of time, and now they feel they are also part of the community. That is why in terms of also and such events, that also really mean that they should be left aside. And that is something also really, I must say, and if you can really see on that image clearly, that is also really one of the LC3, former LC3 chairpersons of Arua City, Oli Division, also being part of that event in there. And I must say, this is quite amazing, and we are yet following up on that. And come the 8th of next month, we are going to be lively, that is also really at Arua Primary School Playgrounds, that is also to welcome the President, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, where also really we expect the visit not to be for nothing. We also really have to tell our leaders now that we have to consolidate our plans. We have to draw what we want the head of state also to address. And this is really where I want all of us to also really now put our hands together. And that's really to just front maybe one or two ideas which the president can also really timely address in there. If it's road, we must tell the president that it's road. If it's school, we have to ask for that. And also really, instead of also really going also to ask for different things, which to me wouldn't be quite well. And that is why we are saying that activity also really, we are yet following it. And we did see a procession of people moving. That is in large crowds, also being led by the brass band in their moving. That's in different parts of Arua City. Afterward, we also we went to the OPM ground where we didn't see those dancing skills being portrayed. And I didn't know the deputy resident city can dance, but really that is also what went in there. And I don't know, Matt Dixon, you can see him live with his cap, and he actually said something that I really felt powerful, because in most cases, once our leaders are appointed like this and once they are dropped, it really pains, it really makes us feel very bad, because we today have no many cabinet ministers, we have a very few state ministers, but really, how can we ensure that we also really have more people coming up on board in these positions? And that is why we are saying issues of us fighting each other should be put aside. If at all I am going to be moving maybe to see the head of state, and I'm from Addis region, this issue of going to paint my brother from Lubara land with a black color should be put aside. And maybe from a sub-region, and I happen to meet the president, maybe the top leadership, and these are the people in the appointing committee, we shouldn't also really first of all paint my brother or my sister with bad image, because if at all I'm going to be painting my brother or sister with that bad image, if they are dropped, we still miss a lot, because if at all we have so many people in these positions, definitely the pain of the region will always be there, because one person will know definitely I am serving my point. If at all I have to maybe also support my people back, then definitely I have to also really echo out my voices and really have to support my brother who also really is raising a concern that also really could be pertinent, not only affecting maybe my area, but also people of the region. And that's also why we are saying, once we are appointed, also once we are seeing people being appointed, we should not fight them. We should rather encourage them, and maybe if they are told there are some mistakes, instead of also reporting them to the top level, we should also really engage them, because we have seen this, because in most times today we have very few ministers, we have very few people appointed to other also top organizations. And that is why we are saying, for us to see our brothers and sisters be promoted to these top organizations, we have so many factories where today you hardly see people from Western Sub-region. We are saying this must be stopped. And one factor that has actually been contributing to this, according to the leaders, is the fact that the politics of divisionism is playing its part. And that is why we are saying that shouldn't go on, and that shouldn't be the case. We should support each other so that the region can grow. And moving away from that, now let's look at what is happening, and also that is also today morality that is happening in the country today. And that is why we are saying what is happening to the world today can only be solved by the religious leaders, because they are the doctors of the brain, and they are the people who also actually do what we call spiritual healing. And also that is why we are saying, recently we did see also the Directorate for Ethics and Integrity and the Office of the President also rallying the clergy, that is also to the Western Sub-region, to embrace also imparting values on the society using the national ethical values, which have also already been developed. There are about 10 which also really call upon people to also work in relation to that, because if you really see what's happening to the world today, issues about corruption, issues about other issues here and there have also been greatly also being raised. And this is where we are saying these factors must be put aside, and now we have to use what we call the national ethical values, which have been developed in there by the Directorate for Ethics, which is actually the body that is supposed to be ensuring that the people of this country have good morals, and they have to work with what is accepted within the norms. And that is why this This issue was actually developed to protect the rich African culture, and that is why we are saying we have to work together with the religious leaders, we have to work together with the clergy, irrespective of our differences, such that also really nobody can be left behind. And that is the reason as to why we already here saying people must also really listen to the clergy, because at times we do understand that the clergy have a long congregation and have a huge audience that also listens to them, and that's the reason as to why in most of these government programs, for instance PDM, if at all the engagement and involvement of this people is concerned, it's also really catered for, we may see a success of that, because people very much believe in this clergy, and that is why people move to these churches, people move to these mosques, listen to them, and that is why really sometimes also really we do understand the audience is actually free, and we are saying people must ensure that they work together with the clergy. Look at the Muslims, how many times they pray a day? They really have, that is 5 times of prayers a day, which is actually something that I must say is quite good, and that is why we are saying people must ensure that they work together with these religious leaders. And let's first have a look at what exactly happened in there for us to also understand what exactly the leaders said about the national ethical values being developed.
Been called upon to impress imparting values on the masses so as to eradicate the increasing cases of moral degeneration. This comes at a time where the Directorate for Ethics and Integrity under Office of the President is rallying the clergy to champion the fight in building a society that treasures the good morals, using the national ethical values as a solution to the rising cases of moral degeneration. On 21st and 22nd of May 2024, the Directorate convened a 2-day strategic meeting with the leaders of the religious and faith-based organization in West Nile on building a well-established society using the national ethical values policy of Uganda. Some of the clergy who attended the workshop in Arua City have this to say on roles they can play in building a good society.
The effort of government to bring faith-based religious leaders and cultural leaders on the issue of awareness, especially eradicating corruption and ethics and integrity, is a very good move. The issue of corruption cuts across, as you have said, in the church, outside the church. But the role of the church is to check the balance, to try to see that the society is put on the right track.
From the conception of the nation, we are to have, these are the first things supposed to take place, because the nation of Uganda had a wonderful motto which says, "For God and my country." And for this, I want to echo in one thing. Uganda is built on foundation. As the book of Psalms number 11 verse 3 says, when the foundation is broken, what will the righteous do? So are the 3 aspects of rebuilding Uganda, our nation. This is a good thing, though it came a little bit late, to see to it that the nation is shaped morally.
However, Sheikh Waswa Muhammad Ali, the Deputy Mufti of Uganda Muslim Supreme Council, is of the view that religious leaders can only restore the moral decay in the society today through working together irrespective of the differences of religious affiliations.
See the decadence of the morals in the present society is something that has been impacted by long shortcomings that have happened in the history of this country. So as religious leaders, we call for some kind of dialogue, so that we discuss many issues that went wrong and try to put them right, because if we do not do so, it will remain like a time bomb.
Alex Okello, the Permanent Secretary for Ethics and Integrity, says they identified the clergy in the fight to restore the good in the society because it's a war that is of mindset change.
You see, if your motor vehicle tire goes flat You are not going to take it to the engine mechanic to put your tire right. You get it? You will take it to the mechanic who works on tires. Look here, what has gone wrong in the ethical values? It is human behavior, human mind. Who are the people who can correct the human mind? Who can take the mindset change? We cannot take it to the engineers in UNRWA that they will make it straight. No. The engineers for our minds are the faith-based institutions, the cultural institutions, who would talk, who would direct the people. So, in this matter, the religious and faith institutions are the best.
The national ethical policy has been developed with the main objective of promoting and preserving the rich cultural identity of the Ugandan people. Oraku Benson Pastore, Farsi Majid, West Nile Television Nilecast.
Right, that is it, and that is why we are saying religious leaders must be respected at all times, and that is also really a reason as to why also people who are out there, we must always accord them the listening ears, because they are the ones that also really can't be able to maybe address our issues. And that is why if at all somebody is going through a lot, they definitely have to run, that is the religious leaders, so that they can seek guidance from these religious leaders and the clergy. And that is also a reason as to why I also want to warn the clergy in the same manner to also really differentiate themselves from the people, and that's already where they have to act extraordinary well, and they need to desist from tendencies of also the activities that may ruin also the character. For instance, cases of corruption, maybe also, which has also been said is happening in the churches and mosques, which is really quite unfortunate, because we are being told that also, if at all maybe we are to make the society revive and restore the good standing that we are talking about, it is the clergy, and really where we also really get to ironically see the clergy also really being engaged in bad activities, and then that is also really something that may also really make us lose trust in what we call the religious and based faith organizations. Also, that is why we are saying those who are into these positions must lead by example. We are not going to be expecting also you to, as a clergy, as a religious leader whom we respect so much, to also be engaged in activities that are termed what we call immoral, because we are talking about restoration of morals in society, but rather also really immorality in there, because today we have seen so many cases of immorality going up, for instance, to issues about corruption, issues about moral decay, others I cannot be able to mention them here, but really we know what is happening in society today, where the respect for elders today has really gone down, which is also really a part of what we call moral education today. But we are saying religious leaders, clergy have a part to play in terms of really addressing that. And now let's move away from that. Let's look at briefly what is happening at the national scene. And this is also really where the issue about the censure motion of the MPs who were actually commissioners who took money for themselves in there is now gaining momentum. And the MPs behind this motion are now also really citing intimidation. I don't know from who, but we are saying also legislators who fronting the censure motion of parliamentary commissioners have accused their very targets of intimidation, as the motion has gathered what we call pace in Parliament also really since Friday in there. But now, how can we best also really ensure that this matter moves on freely is something that I'm yet following up on. The censor motion against that's parliamentary commissioners Matthias Impuga, Solomon Sirwanyi, Esther Foyo-Chan, and also really Prosper Mbabazi has gained momentum with legislators also really saying it is one to draw the line to distinguish those for the people and those who are working against the people in there. And the members of Parliament are flocking also the desk to append signatures to the motion, are seeking also to censor the commissioners for sharing that's the shillings 1.7 billion in March 2022. Also really has also a service award has also really gained momentum, and Nyendo Mkungwe MP, that's Mpuga, was just 10 months into office of the leader of opposition in Parliament when he sat in the meeting that discussed the so-called what we call a service award in there. That's ever since that time this also really has been termed as corruption and against the morals in there. Remember earlier on I was talking about morals, and this is also something that also really where we are now seeing the legislators affiliated to the Patriotic League of Uganda, a loose civic also grouping also led by First Son and the Chief of Defense Forces, that is General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. We are among also the first to append their signatures and in numbers. This is also what we saw happening, and these explain their choices to censor the commissioners. And first we did see Miss Sarah Opendi, one of the faces behind the censor motion, also, however, revealed that also the embattled commissioners also are threatening members against the process with some also training also propaganda in there. But really, we did see so many legislators behind this motion, and notable from West Nile is actually Odria Yok, who is actually one behind of these leaders, and also did see Oguzu in there. But also we did see Oguzu from Arusha County also really asking the people to first investigate this matter thoroughly, and I did see them that also really happening in there. But really, what we are saying is that is something also at the end of the day we want also answers to, because this is taxpayers' money. If at all they obtain the money without the approval of Parliament, how then did they get the money, and how then did they get access to this money? Because initially money that these people are supposed to get themselves as awards is first of all supposed to pass and be approved by Parliament. Because some people are saying also the money, what about the 200 million that was given also to these people? Is it not bribe? And this is, I think, so weird following upon, but really it is clearly stated that now this matter is also the matter of public interest. We are yet following upon, and while the concerned say they vow not to relent that or to punish the errant colleagues, other legislators also really expressed concern that they cannot continue also really what we call going on to field without also pay yet huge also sums are being shared by a few individuals, and that's solely where these MPs did not feel very well. And as they continue, the speaker also checked in on the MPs and also really collecting a signatures. This is something where we did see also this happening. By the close of today, we also really, which is Friday, more than 90 signatures also are believed to have been collected yesterday, and this is something also that we are not yet following up on, and I don't know how many signatures. Remember, just this people need just a few signatures, that is to throw these people also out, and this is already just about 170, and now they have they have 90 out of 170. That means that also they have already passed the average of the signatures that they need to collect, and this is where they have also been threatening, that is the people, to also really identify those MPs who have also really refused to append their signatures, as saying that these are MPs who are against development, these are MPs who are in support of corruption, and this is also where they ask the voters to have an eye on who exactly their MP is, which side exactly is he taking, is he refusing or has he appended. This is also where these legislators who are behind this motion also really ask their voters, which is really quite interesting, and we shall be able to follow this matter until the last drop. I don't know when it will be able to end, but what I can say is that this matter has now gained what we call public interest, because this matter is something that began actually this year. We have seen this matter continuing, and the woes that is between Matthias Impuga and also other parties has not yet settled, because we did see this as something which started as a form of maybe internal fights amongst the party, but now we are seeing also the other members also being attracted to this matter here. But really, when shall this matter end? This is something also we want to maybe have an answer to, and we want to see maybe if at all these people got the monies, because in Zombo district I also had rumors where also some people were also asking the legislator to also refund this money back, but really that is something I must say is quite unfortunate, but we are yet following up on, and we want to see maybe when this matter shall be addressed, because at the end of the day we want to see this matter now be put aside, and the legislators must focus on what we call development. They also have to ensure that their duties are now fulfilled, and that is where we come to the end of the first hour. And my name is Farish Majid. In case you are just joining us right now, remember we are live on Star Times. In case you are watching us right from the comfort of your sitting room, we say thank you so much. And for those of you who are always streaming us online, we also really very, very much do appreciate you. For now, let's first have this short commercial breather, and we bounce back shortly with other topics that we are prepared for you in here.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
for Miss Uganda 2024 is on. Get ready to be wowed by the girls' intelligence, charisma, and big dreams. Who will be the next Miss Uganda? Find out starting 10th May every Friday to Sunday at 8 p.m. on Makulachika, exclusively on Star Times. For more details on how to join the competition, visit www.missuganda.co.ug or visit Star Times branches. The show is sponsored by VNA, LMZ, Comform, Nanjing Hotel, Kira Motors, Sheraton, Uganda Airlines, and lead sponsors Grace Textiles and U-Home. Miss Uganda 2024, true Ugandan beauty.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, you are most welcome back from that short commercial breather. I hope you are still with us, and that is where we are going to be going with you after the hour of 9 o'clock. And at 9 o'clock, that's when the news of bulletin in Lubarati with Mukulia Lawrence will be coming through, and that is why I also want to implore the people who speak Lubara to also be part of that bulletin in there, because this is where you are going to be getting what exactly happened, maybe in different areas. Because for you to be one person who is informed, definitely you are going to be also as well making informed decisions. And one access also really where you are going to be getting information. First of all, is through the KOKOLIRIKO live show, and then secondly is through the news bulletin. And for those who also speak Alur, do not forget also really through that's the midday. We are going to be also really having Catching of Faith, Fancy Sorry also really coming through with also the Lebangea, and later on Okumuringa Christine will be coming through with the Nilcast. That's from 7 p.m. and that is why I'm saying for those who want information that is of what is happening in and around your areas, you must also really interest yourselves in what is happening maybe in this news bulletins, because we have a team that is well dispersed across the region, always to keep you informed of what is happening, because really they are spread across the region and different parts of the world, and that's where you will be having access to that information. And that's the reason as to why I also want to employ you to always also really be that is also really in support of this news bulletin. And now let's move on, because earlier on we are talking about also really the MPs who are also really behind the censure motion also to eject that what we call the commissioners also really in there, and who are now moving also collecting signatures. And I earlier on told you that these people know how, and now having 90 signatures out of the 170 required for them to also go on with their process, because really for them to censor the MPs, definitely are required by law to also have that is 170 signatures, which to me already they have the past. What is happening? What maybe what they are now also really, to achieve, because they already have out of the 500 MPs, if they are told they have the 90s, and yet they are just required to have 170. That means that they may also really get the signatures. I do not know, but one of those MPs who actually spoke on this matter is our own from Terego. That's Rose Obiga, and that's really where we did see her also really raising concern that for them, they are going to field, they are moving their constituencies, they are moving to other areas without money. And really, yet there are people who have taken the money, where also really, which is something also that didn't go on well. And I want to say that this is a matter we shall be able to follow up. That is till the last drop, because we want to see an end to that. But really, how prepared are they to also really address this matter is the question somebody out there could be asking himself. That is this early morning. But what we are saying is this matter is a matter of now public interest, and we shall be keeping that is everybody informed about that matter till the last drop. And now let's move away from that Mpuga's matters are still haven't sorted yet. And this is where we are now seeing also this paper this morning, where also the Chigezi Don is saying Mpuga has no ideology that's at national level in there. This is also where I'm saying also something which I must say is happening this morning and reported on another post, where a renowned Chigezi political science scholar, that's Sabiti Makara, has said that Matthias Mpuga has no ideology. He can sell that at the national level. And last week we did see former leader of opposition Matthias Mpuga also announced that he will be unveiling the next step, that's in his next political journey in the coming weeks. Also already as Rift with National Youth Platform has also already gone on, and we did see this being worsened and clearly exhibited in Luengo during also one of the burial of one of the leaders in there. But really, Professor Makara, a senior political analyst and lecturer of political science at Kabale University, has also told the embattled Nyendo Mkungwe, etc., that he has nothing to sell to Ugandans, and Mpuga is also at crossroad with National Youth Platform, a party of also over receiving the service award worth 500 million Ugandan shillings, which hasn't been also well with some of the leaders. And this is also where we have seen the fights, which is also the internal fights already being also clearly exhibited in there. And in an audio recording that went viral on social media last week, the soft-spoken Mpuga borrowed also from scriptures, drawing his supporters also to Christ teaching that to his disciples about what we say losing hope. And he was speaking after attending also the burial of Pascal Seka Samba, a younger brother of former Democratic Secretary, that's also General also Matthias Nsubuga in also Luengo in there. Mr. Mpuga, who also last month was suspended from his position as Deputy also President for Buganda region, also the decision that appears, which have also set the collision with the party leader, that's Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu in there on breakless also rail speed in there. Professor Makara feels Mpuga is also not yet good to go as a leader, suggesting that the legislator was probably also estimating his visibility, that is in politics, and that is something we did see in there. These are not our words, but rather also the words of the Chigezi also done in there. And this is something also I want to remind you of as we also continue to go on with the show. Mpuga shot onto the national political milieu on the back of morality scandal when he was shot. That's massacre lodged over allegations of having a tryst with a married woman in there. And this is something also we did see happening at the time he played the victim and turned the scandal into a blessing in disguise. He went on to unseat Democratic Parties, Baptist also Kawanga in the rest. Also he also attracted also Francis Kiza, the Independence, also the Susan Nakauki and Sane Mtasira, and this is also where he also did go on through in there. And he had previously also cut into politics teeth at Makerere University under the Young Democrats before also being groomed at Bulange Mengo when he served as the youth minister in there. And his first real test for national charities also was when he came back when he became the face of Walk to Work, a protest also that shook the National Resistance Movement government in 2011 in there. This is something also we didn't see happening in there, but this is quite unfortunate, and this is also something that is happening at this time where we are supposed to be preparing for 2026 as people of this region, because we are seeing really, if at all leaders also maybe of these opposition groups do not restructure and do not plan ahead, we may likely see also what is risky things may be happening in there. But as we're going to continue with the show, let's move into massacre. Remember at the same barrier that also we talked about, that is also in Luengo, we did see also some group of people who attacked also some journalists, where journalists have now responded that also they will not be also really attending also the events of what we call the National Youth Platform, also for being behind also the destruction of the equipment of their colleagues in there. And now we did see yesterday journalists in the Greater Massacre region have taken a decisive stance by initiating also an indefinite boycott to all events related to the National Youth Platform Party. But what does this mean to the party? Also, this is something also we must also really understand in there, because if at all masses are also not going to get information from you, because the information sometimes these people consume is through what we call the mass media. And in Buganda in particular, I must say these people also very, very much have affiliation to what we call the media, mostly the broadcast media, the radios and the TVs. They have some televisions also this will subscribe to very much. And if at all the journalists are going to boycott events of this political party, what does it mean, and how will this have an impact that is maybe to the party come 2026? And I must say this is quite unfortunate to the party, and this is something which at the end of the day, if at all the party members to me do not sit down and address before 2026, this is also going to be very much bad for them, and people are going to come with also negative mindset. And for a journalist to come to cover you with a negative perception is really the worst thing, because definitely this is where they are going to be looking for weaknesses in your event, and that is something which I must say shouldn't be the case. And this action follows an incident when also the party president Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu's bodyguard guards allegedly assaulted journalists also really during the barrio in Luengo in there, and assaulted journalists include that is also Next Media's Zainab Namsazi and NTV's Gatwet Mutiawa and Radio Simba's also Margaret Kayondo, who were also really attacked in there. And this is also where we did see the equipment also being destroyed, and we are saying such instances shouldn't be the case. And this is also where we are celebrating the May also 3rd also day in there. That is to honor the journalists also really in there. But really, when we see them being attacked like that, it's quite unfortunate. And the incident which took place also amid tensions between the rival Nup factions at the barrio also really of a London-based prominent businessman Pascal Sekasamba also really led to the damaging of equipment that's really injuring also the journalists in there. This is something I must say is quite unfortunate, but rather we have to condemn, and that is why people's tempers must be controlled, because sometimes people look at us journalists as enemies. And recently I was in an engagement where really I felt we journalists are not being treated well, but sometimes you see the leaders are behind this. Somebody whom you think really should be a source of protection to journalists is really behind also the rallying, also the incitement of violence against journalists, which is really quite unfortunate, because really for people to look at journalists as enemies is really the worst thing, but rather it is journalists who are supposed to hold each and everybody accountable. There's no journalist who's going to be working maybe to tarnish your name, and that's why we have to work well with them, and we have to create a well-working environment. And recently we did see something happening in Arua City where one of our colleagues also is said to be also attempted to be assaulted in there, which is really quite unfortunate. And these are things that we have to condemn. And this is also where I want to say such instances must be thoroughly investigated, and then also justice must be given to both parties. If at all maybe anything of that sort happens, justice must prevail, and for justice to prevail, then definitely that is where issues of thorough investigations is called for. And this is something I must say at the end of the day must also be addressed. And the rift between journalists and politicians is actually something that has been which has not been there, but really we are saying these matters must be addressed, because over the years the rift was also mostly exhibited between also journalists and what we call the security agencies, but now we are seeing it moving also political, and this is only where I must say is quite unfortunate, and it must also be dealt with if at all we are going to be also witnessing what we call maybe justice for these media practitioners. And Maurice Matovu, the Secretary General of the Greater Masaka Journalists Association, urged NUP to respect democratic values and also really accountability in there. The journalists also already have vowed to maintain their standards to boycott the events until their demands for an apology is met. And this is also really where these people must prepare, and this is also where I have to say this matter must be addressed. And I don't think that is something which to me would be quite well, because if this matter is not going to be addressed well, then the party is at stake. And this is really where if at all the events are not covered, and then definitely that would also have a negative implication on the party. And to get journalists urged to combat misinformation is only another story that we are seeing on the past morning, still related to media practitioners, because we are here to keep people informed, but sometimes also really we are being hit by instances of misinformation, disinformation, which is really quite unfortunate. And this is something also really where issues of what we call verification information must be thoroughly checked. And this is only where I want to implore my fellow colleagues who are in the media practitioners, who are in the media business, to also always ensure that they do thorough check of the information that they are supposed to be running, because at times also the information may be also to mislead, and this is quite unfortunate. And journalists now across Chigezi sub-region have been also urged to prioritize accuracy and also fact-checking, also to combat the growing also threat that's the misinformation and disinformation in there. And this call also was made during a fact-checking training also hosted by the Bank Media Initiative in Kabale municipality. The training which attracted media professionals from various also media houses across the region also went on in there, and this is where they were called upon to embrace what we call fact checking, because sometimes we run stories where with checking the information, which is really quite unfortunate. And this is also really where the journalists also really had a consensus amongst themselves. Such initiatives are crucial for upholding what we call journalistic standards and protecting the public from also harmful effects of false information. And the Bank Media Initiative reaffirmed the commitment also to supporting journalists, and the plans also to conduct similar training sessions in other regions across the country. And this is also where we are calling upon them also to come to Western sub-region, where we also have to see our journalists being trained, and which is also something I must say would be quite well. So the journalists also are also being retooled in there, because retooling is really the way to go, because sometimes people do mistakes in their duty of work, not because they're interested, but because also really they lack being retooled. And that is why such refresher courses is really quite good, and such workshops also to refreshen the minds of the journalists is really the way to go, and that is why we are saying this also really must move to the other parts of the region. We want to see it in West Nile, we want to see it in Acholi, we want to also see it move, that is to Lango sub-region, which to me will be quite well, and that's why we are saying this initiative also must also be well catered for India. That's one thing maybe at the end of the day will be quite well. And now moving on from that, let's look at some of the stories happening nationally and internationally, both because these are stories that cut across the nation and internationally, where 23 Ugandans have been repatriated, that's from Myanmar, in there. This is something we are seeing, and also this is where which came with moments of joy and sighs of relief at Entebbe International Airport on May 23rd. Also, as 23 Ugandans who had traveled, who had been held captive in Myanmar returned home in there. And these were received by the government officials after arriving aboard Ethiopian Airways, also airlines, at about 11:22 a.m. in there. These are things I want to say must also be respected there, because many of the times we have seen our young people being duped. That's only as a result of opportunities abroad, where somebody comes to you and tells you, I'm going to be getting you an opportunity to work as a casual laborer, as maybe this and that abroad, but just promising you heaven and earth. And this is something also where some people have also fallen prey to, and this is where money has also been stolen from people in most times. But really, after moving abroad, there's nothing of that caliber, and which also at the end of the day subjects our young people, that is to abstract suffering. And this is only where we are saying these issues must be avoided, because our young people sometimes suffer a lot because they are being duped also by some individuals who have ill intentions. And this is something also I want to say shouldn't be the case, and we must protect our people from also really such opportunists and such people who take advantage of them, which at the end of the day would be quite well. And really the way to go, and really for such people to also really avoid falling prey into hands of these unscrupulous persons, is first of all to verify, and then maybe verify the authenticity of the information these people are giving you, and then also the credibility of, first of all, of how maybe this opportunity is, so that also not fall prey. Because I believe these people who moved to Myanmar were also really being obtained money in there. Mr. Vincent Bagire, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Foreign Affairs, welcomed the group, but also want Ugandans to be aware of fraudulent employers also really who promise also these schemes abroad in there. This is something also that I want to say is quite unfortunate. And Mr. Bagire also, the government also say the government of Uganda, in collaboration with also the High Commission in Kuala Lumpur, the Ministry that's of Internal Affairs, and other Office of the Prime Minister, initiated a series of diplomatic also engagements with the government of Myanmar to also have this also really being released in there. And this is a thing also I want to say is quite unfortunate happening, because at times also the economy in Uganda is not well. But we are saying young people must also really have belief, have the trust of living in this country, because we have often seen our people moving also really to the Middle East, where others have come back in coffins, which is really quite unfortunate, because at times we move for these opportunities because the suffering in this country sometimes is quite bad, and coupled with the issues of unemployment, where the employment rates are still quite high, people also look at these opportunities also serve something they really need to indulge in, and really at the end of the day, if at all they are taken advantage of, then that is quite unfortunate. And really this is also really where I want to say these fraudulent employers must be dealt with, and they should also be brought to book if at all maybe they are apprehended. And this is something also I want to say at the end of the day would also be quite well. Ms. Bigombe said they need to find also lasting solution for the increasing also cases of human trafficking in Southeast Africa, Asia, where also the members are also already said to be shooting up. And the International Organization for Migration, which is also abbreviated as IOM, Chief of Mission, Mr. Sanusi Tejan Savage, and the returnees also who were received include 5 women and 18 men who received the application for 1 month before also being repatriated back home in there to be reunited with their families. And this is something also that should also act as a warning to those who would have the intention to travel. And now let's move away from that. Now let's look at still what is happening in security, where a Giso has been arrested. That's for stealing a laptop in there. This is something also I want to say is quite unfortunate, as police in Kabaramaido district have opened a case of theft against a Gombolola internal security officer, which is also abbreviated as a Giso, for Bululu sub-county in Kalaki district, who is identified as Mr. Simon Edwongu, and court clerk Emmanuel Osege for allegedly also stealing a computer from the magistrate's office on Tuesday night. And this is something also I want to say is quite unfortunate. And the Kabaramaido district police commander SP David Otabong said that the Giso and court clerk were arrested, and after the police clock also led us to officers or respective premises, after also them being involved for stealing also the laptop computers in there, which is quite unfortunate really for us as somebody who is supposed to be promoting security, and then it is you also really being arrested for that. And then how will be the people also really refusing you, and how will they be able to perceive you? This is something I want to say is quite unfortunate and shouldn't be the case, more so to those people who have been trusted with security. Because security is surely one of those initiatives which is not for joke, is really something I want to say is quite difficult, and really it is actually one of the areas which is of key interest and which shouldn't be also really be violated in there. And we also been told that this is not the very first time Osege has been arrested, implicated in a criminal act, and in 2018 in 2008 he was arrested also by the IG for allegedly also receiving also a bribe of shillings 3 million over a land in Okile sub-county. And now why do we still keep such people of this records in public service, which is really the great concern which I also have to ask myself, because as a GISO you are into public service, you are earning government money, but really how can we also really keep in these offices, yet you have a bad reputation, which has also been clearly reflected. And this is also something I want to say should also be respected. And this is also where I want to say people into these offices must first of all mind of their respect, maybe also their dignity, so that sorry they are not caught up maybe in such instances. And early this year another court clerk identified as Alex Eluke was arrested over theft of court exhibits, and the police are also investigating the motives behind the repeated also the instances of theft within the court systems in there. This is quite really unbelievable, because court is where justice is being administered, and if at all people are now also really misbehaving within the court, this is quite unfortunate, and really these are things sorry I want to say should be not be happening, because if you move in the judiciary, you realize that also really first of all this is only where a lot of activities continue to happen. And moving on from that, let's leave that aside, and putting that aside, because let's leave what belongs to Caesar, and definitely the matters belong to judiciary must be dealt also really by the judiciary themselves, and that is why we are closing that discussion aside. And now let's move to Maracha, where also it is said that lack of water is also really affecting the people now, as the people have to compete with animals' water, which is really quite unfortunate. And also this is what is happening in Maracha, and really one of the victims that is identified as Miss Fatuma Egaru, a 77-year-old of Nyaipio cell in Maracha district, has also really raised concern, and as she wakes up early in the morning at about 5 a.m. To move also to the water bodies to fetch water, this is also really where she has to trek long distances, which is about 3 kilometers, where she has to access that is clean water. And also information from there indicates that there is no clean source of water in her village, as Miss Egaru now been making the journey for about 3 years, but also recently abandoned the trek. And this is only where the distance, first of all, from where her home is to this water point is a bit far. That's why we are saying and this matter also must be respected. And remember, recently a survey indicated that most of the water points in Western Sub-region are actually not safe for human consumption, where it is indicated that 47% of the water bodies have been said also to be contaminated in there. But really, what does that mean? And really, where we are seeing today, these wells have to be shared also by the human beings together with the animals, which is really quite unfortunate. And this is something also really I want to say at the end of the day must also really be respected in there, because if at all we are not going to be respecting that, then definitely that would not be quite well. And this is something also I want to say happened, and also she did add on the water we drink is near the road and contaminated, as they ask for help also for their rescue in there. At the water point, we have also been told that if one finds animals, he or she has to wait until these animals first of all drink. And then this is also the same water point that we are going to be drinking after the water also has been contaminated by the animals. What does that mean? How risky are we? That's from also what we call the diseases that are first of all shared by the animals and the human beings. These are animals which are called zoonotic diseases, and I really want to say we are not any safe. That's from the zoonotic diseases, because zoonotic diseases are diseases that can be spread. That is first of all from the animals to the human beings, and then from the human beings to the animals. And then that means also if at all we are going to be competing with the animals' water, then we are not safe from zoonotic diseases, and we have to be prepared for the zoonotic diseases. And that's something which at the end of the day I want to say is a very much alarming. And the situation is not different from also what we also are receiving from, that's Mr. Brahan Rashid, a resident that's of Ompiapi village, who also really said they are drinking for water source on condition just because water is life. And if that wasn't the case, they wouldn't also really wish to drink water in there, because the water is not safe. The water is actually not also also really right for them to consume in there. And this is something also I want to say is really quite unfortunate. And really we are yet following up on, and if at all maybe the district can also liaise maybe for resources to also really establish more wells, more boreholes, that would be quite well, because we want to see the people's livelihoods first of all be protected, and the only way to protect these people's livelihoods is first of all through having them having access to what we call clean and safe water. And 47% of the water bodies in Western sub-region is said to be contaminated. What does that mean? And really, how safe are we, and how safe is the water we are drinking? That is the question that you should be asking yourself as the viewer. And really, how are you working together with your leaders to also have maybe more water balls established, more water points established, is what we need to ask, because really the different leaders also have to mobilize resources, and they have to work together with the people so that also the people have access to what we call clean and safe water, because water is surely life, and without water definitely there's nothing we are going to be doing, because each and everything requires water. Today we are talking about the red eye, and for us to protect ourselves from red eye, we have to wash the hands using clean and safe water, and also clean us and soap in there. But really, where are we going to be getting the clean water we are talking about? And that's already, that is where we also really can be able to have other diseases, for instance diarrhea and cholera, if at all we do not have clean water in there. And that is really something where I want to implore the government to also really come to the rescue of the people of Maracha, because Maracha is actually one of those areas, if at all, where there's no water, and then definitely it could be having a negative implication on the neighboring districts, because look at Maracha, it is not any far from also the Democratic Republic of Congo and South Sudan, because these areas are just around. And that is why we are saying, for those who maybe other diseases that could be spread that's from the neighboring countries, Maracha should have clean water so that also they can protect themselves from those diseases. For instance, the zoonotic diseases, and then other diseases like cholera and the other diseases, dysentery to mention, and the rest. And that is why we are saying access to clean water is actually crucial. But what are the leaders saying? The town clerk for Maracha district, identified as Mr. Samuel Atiku, has also said access to clean water and coverage in the town council also really stands at about 40%, which is below the national coverage in there. And this is something also where we did see as leaders. What are they doing? And they say the policy in town council only allows them to construct piped water, and also but also no other water sources like boreholes and springs, because today we are also being told that also within town council the boreholes cannot be dug, and that is why also we are saying this matters must be dealt with. And article went on to reveal that the piped water system also the government also intends to construct is a big one. We have already also waited for it in a long period of time, and that's something also which I want to say at the end of the day must also be dealt in well in there. Mr. Vincent Ariaka, the youth councillor, also said we have a population of about 1,000 people, that is from the two cells of Nyaipio and the Gudu Mbia also ward in there, who drink water from and protect the water points, and the local community also already in their needs also in their wards need to access also need to have access, that is to clean and safe water in place. Now that is something where we did see the LC3 chairperson from Maracha Town Council, that is Mr. Henry Orejabo, also really addressing on the same matter, and he said when you look at the pipe water system that was constructed in 2005, it was planned for about 6,000 people, but today the population has risen up to 18 people who have to also really have access to this same water, which is really a great challenge. And it remains unclear when the community also really have about 1,000 people and other areas who would also really have access to safe and clean water for drinking in there. But really we are saying, when shall this matter be addressed? That is something I do not know as we come to the closer of this second half of the second hour. And as we bounce back, I will be giving an update of the matters celebrations, because I do understand that the first lot has already reached Namgongo, but for Nebi there may be about also really some few kilometers to reach in there. But for now, let's have this short commercial break there, and when we bounce back, we shall be talking to Alfred Jawo, who is with the team moving to Namgongo. Stay tuned.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
for Miss Uganda 2024 is on. Get ready to be wowed by the girls' intelligence, charisma, and big dreams. Who will be the next Miss Uganda? Find out starting 10th May every Friday to Sunday at 8 p.m. on Makulachika, exclusively on Star Times. For more details on how to join the competition, visit www.missuganda.co.ug or visit Star Times branches. The show is sponsored by VNA, LMZ, Comform, Nanjing Hotel, Kira Motors, Sheraton, Uganda Airlines, and lead sponsors Grace Textiles and U-Home. Miss Uganda 2024, true Ugandan beauty.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Let's go. All right, welcome back from that short commercial breather. We are back. Hope you are still locked on to West Nile Television. And remember, our final destination remains 9 o'clock. But now I want us to connect. That is to Alfred Jawok, who is moving with the team. That is also to Namgong Catholic Shrine, so that also we get to understand of where they have reached and maybe some of the challenges that also they're encountering. And really, I want to say the team is being led by a person with disability who is actually seeking to inspire, also aspiring to also inspire others. And really, if a person with disability can really surely also move, that is also really with the congregation. What about you is able-bodied? These are questions already we also have to talk about each and every morning. And remember, we promise to keep you updated until also the final day in there, because really we do understand also really this day is actually where we want to see that also each and everybody out there also really maybe is part of that. And let's first connect to Alfred Jawok and also really understand what exactly is happening there. Alfred, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
You are live on West Nile TV. How is the journey?
Praise be to the living God, and I want to appreciate you, the host, and all the team. And as I talk now, we are in Kakoge, heading for another journey. Almost we have walked for over 4 kilometers from where we spend the night. And the movement is progressing well, because I don't see any challenge among the pilgrims.
Okay.
Ever since we started the journey on the 15th. Yesterday we trekked for almost 40 kilometers. from Sasra up to Kakoge, where we spend the night, and we have commenced with our journey now.
Okay.
Though it is raining, but we are persevering throughout the rain.
Okay, if I'm maybe briefly to ask, how far and how long is the distance from Kakoge to maybe Namgong Catholic Shrine, which I do understand is in Wakiso?
Definitely, we are left with almost not more than 90 kilometers, because if you remember very well, from Nebi up to Sasra, where we the other time, we had already covered 280 kilometers. That means from maybe with the views from people from Nebi up to Kampala, it's almost 500 kilometers and above.
Okay.
And so far where we are now, we are so hopeful that we shall reach in time either on the 29th or 30th. That's what the organizers are trying to tell us.
Okay, I saw you and the team leading the group, and this is already where I saw you on a wheelchair. Let me hope you're not taking advantage of the wheelchair to avoid walking, because we have been told that some people's legs have swollen. How is the exercise like?
No, I'm not taking advantage of this wheelchair. Otherwise, he's a good friend of mine. He just inspired me to sit on his wheelchair.
Okay.
Just to create a fun. And we are with this person day and night. He has become a good friend, and even now, the way he's tracking more than someone who is not disabled. And I want to appreciate him because he's a dedicated person. He wants to achieve his mission to Namukongo.
Okay.
And you can speak to him in a second.
Maybe. Let's first have maybe a one-on-one with him, if possible.
Yes, you are live on West Night TV. Tell me your name and what is your experience out of this movement?
Thank you very much. My name is called Eric Mungu Javero. Yeah, we are moving to Namukongo, and what I'm experiencing is that from this journey, I realized that me also, I didn't know, I can do something which people also can benefit through what I'm doing. Like yesterday, we slept in Conge, but most of people with disabilities, they came for the advice to me, but I gave them what I have. This is what experienced.
Okay.
That next time encourage other people also to join us. Many people with disabilities, they are there at home, but they just think from them they cannot move, from them they have fear, but which is also causing another disability in their life.
Okay.
Because the first disability is mental disability.
Okay. Maybe what inspired you to also be part of this exercise?
What inspired me also, because I know Namugongo is a prayer point, but I know when I reach there, I'm going to pray for what I'm going for. Like right now, as a human being, I'm facing a lot of challenges. Like I have a family, I supposed to take care of my family, and I don't have work, and I'm jobless, and you know very well, we as the people with disability, most of the people know that we are the cobblers.
Okay.
But even I went to school and I did it. In school, I have a certificate, but there is no job. But I want to open my workshop, but I don't have capital. That's one of the reasons why I decided to move with those people.
Okay.
And the second thing also, my children, they're at home, nobody to take them to school, because you know these days things are expensive. If you want to take the children to school, also need a lot of money. So all those things, I decided to offer it all to the God.
Okay. Maybe is it your first time or is it your last time?
Yeah, it's my first time to move, but to reach Namugongo is my second time. At first, I went there in 2016.
Okay.
We went with one of my friends there. We stayed there for the whole of the day. But since that day, it's my first time now. It's the second time now to reach Namugongo.
Is it the last?
Yeah.
Is it the last time you're going to be moving there?
No, it's not the last time. I think it's a continuous movement.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be yearly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for being a source of inspiration to many people, and we hope you are going to be also really having that time, and where we also expect God to answer your prayers in there. And Alfred Jawok?
Amen.
All right, Alfred Jawok? Yes,
hello?
yes, we thank you so much for that update, and we shall be connecting again on Monday. I don't know what you have finally to say.
And I promise our viewers, they will be keep posted every time, every hour, every day. We want to light up the region, and I want to thank you all the team. I want to thank my manager, Daisy Kajik, and everyone there. You pray for us so that we have a successful journey from here to Namugongo. Thank you so much. Greetings to all the viewers.
All right, that is Alfred Jawok with the team. They're already in Kakoge on their way. That is just ahead of Nakasongola, and they're just some few meters and few kilometers to also reach their final destination in there. And we still continue to follow up, and we shall be able to keep you updated as people of this region as far as this journey is concerned. And really, we pray also for God to also really make these people reach safely. That's their final destination, and really for people to get that courage to walk. It's not an easy thing, really. That is why we are saying people must always get closer to their gods, because if you are not getting closer to God, then definitely, if at all God starts distancing himself from you, that is where you will be able to feel the wrath. And this is really where people may become very much stressed. But we are saying, if at all such journeys are there, as Christians, we need not to maybe pull ourselves back, because if a person with disability can surely walk, what about you who is able-bodied? And these are things really we have also been told about. And remember, we have also been told that they are Muslim matters, and maybe next time I will also really be joining Alfred Jawok and the team so that we can trek up to Namugongo, also Ankan Shrine in there, which to me would be quite well, because we have been told that also really among the 22, also really they were also those that were killed as Muslims. But that's why this year the money, there was also some money that was given the Muslims so that they can also really organize their Matters Day on another date, which is also really there, which has also been confirmed. And we are saying also we are going to be joining that. I don't know if Muslims walk, but if at all, maybe they will be able to be asked to walk, and I will be able to joining them. That is to walk from Arua City up to Namugongo, which I really hope I will be able to achieve, but I do not know, because yesterday we did see at least some people also complaining of swollen legs. But that definitely, that is also really what we call persevering for the sake of God, because if at all you are not persevering, and then definitely you may also not be able to achieve that journey in there. And that is where we come to a close of today's discussions. And remember, so many issues continue to unfold that is in the region, right in the different aspects of life. But we are saying, as we get to closer to the weekend, we must always ensure that we spend responsibly. And this is also really where I want to ask people who move, that is for different activities, because sports people have what we call a choice, and this is already where people honor and celebrate the weekends in different ways. There are those who prefer going to nightclubs, and we are saying, if at all you are going to be drinking the beers, you are going to be drinking the sodas, drink responsibly. And for those who also really go for other activities, because I do understand that those who prefer to just go in quiet places, and really we don't have any beach in West Nile, but we are having what we call these other places. And really, if you move in there, we also have to spend mindfully in there, because we must think about the other things and our other desires, so that also already once also we do not have money, we start regretting. And that is where I come to a close of today's discussion. I hope you had a wonderful time right from the time we began. And really, I want to say the weekend is also already here as we come to a closer of this week. And this is already why I want to thank my team in a special way, led by the producer, Celia Dizon Pro. He is an amazing gentleman. Also, I want to thank the camera woman. And this is already where maybe you get people who are ladies. And this is already where we are saying ladies also can do what men can do. And I'm also privileged to also have, that is a camera woman, that is also really Aita Sophie in there. I also want to thank you so much, and the rest of the team also for being part of the exercise. And we shall be bouncing back on Monday for the same show right here on the same frequency at the same time. That is only where we say we come to the end for today, and we say have yourselves a good weekend. Thank you.